Coming up on the Cross the Middle show, we have the Bill Belichick story first. Then we're going to talk about what Jordan Love said about the Bears on Father's Day. So let's get right down to it. We're starting with the Belichick story first. Is Belichick a coach that finally has the players to win again, or is he a coach that's losing control of his team? Because let's face it, the Patriots aren't as successful as they used to be. They're not winning as much as they used to. They just had the Jack Jones arrest. Belichick has to prove that he can get back to winning. In order to be considered an elite football team in the National Football League, you have to win. The Patriots have to prove that they belong in that category of elite teams because it feels like they're just a good team. Last year, they weren't even a good team. They were a losing team. And we can't forget about, Robert Kraft's lack of patience. Robert Kraft said publicly to the media that he doesn't feel like Bill Belichick did a good enough job of drafting on the offensive side of the ball. When your boss is criticizing you, it doesn't matter if you won, 6 Super Bowls or not. Basically, your boss is telling you, I think you need to do better in this area, which for Bill Belichick has to be somewhat concerning because I think Robert Kraft believes that Tom Brady is more responsible for the Patriots' success than Bill Belichick. So anytime your boss feels that way about you, your seat starts to heat up a little bit. Now, I don't think Bill Belichick should be on the hot seat, but I'm telling you what Robert Kraft said to the media, and when he says something like that, your antennas go up a little bit because you're like, wow, he's criticizing a coach that won all these Super Bowls. He should be getting praise. I'm telling you, Robert Kraft publicly to the media said that Bill Belichick hasn't done a good enough job of drafting on the offensive side of the ball. So for Belichick, it's about proving that he can win in the post-Tom Brady era. He doesn't have Tom Brady anymore. This team is searching for an identity on offense. They think they finally have the players on offense. We know Bill Belichick has handled his business on the defensive side of the ball. He's been one of the best defensive-minded coaches in the league. Remember, he's a head coach, but he's also the defensive coordinator. That's what he hangs his hat on. So that's where we're at with the Patriots. Can Belichick prove that he finally has the players to win again? Or is a coach that's losing control of his team? The Jack Johnson arrest, not good PR for the Patriots. That doesn't sit well with Robert Kraft upstairs. You let Stephon Gilmore go and, you go with these young guys. Well, I don't think Stephon Gilmore would have got arrested. Bill Belichick took some risk. He's always been a risk taker. Go back to the Chandler Jones trade. It's always worked out for him. In the past, he's also had Tom Brady there to bail him out if he made any mistakes. So that's where we're at with Bill Belichick. I'm actually rooting for Coach Belichick because he's done so much for the game. I'm just laying out a situation, laying out where we're at in terms of the Patriots organization in 2023. That's the news that is being reported on. That's what we're hearing. It's a crossroad moment for Bill Belichick and the Patriots. It's a crossroads moment because these guys got to go out there and show that they can, get back to the playoffs, that they can keep winning, that they can keep that thing alive now that Tom Brady isn't there. It's got to happen from Belichick at this point. He's the guy calling all the shots. He's the leader. He's the general, whatever you want to call it. It's on him to perform. For all those years, Belichick was hard on his players and demanded the most out of them. Well, now Robert Kraft's doing the same thing to Bill Belichick. So Belichick really has to step up and put it all together this year. DeAndre Hopkins would help a lot. They need him. That's the first step to, getting all this back on track, getting back to the playoffs. I think Bill O'Brien's going to help a little bit too. But for Belichick, it's his head on the line. It's his head on the chopping block, so to say. It hasn't been the same without Tom Brady. Tom Brady goes down there to the Buccaneers, wins a Super Bowl. So Bill Belichick has to step up and get back in the hunt himself. Or, the Patriots might start looking around. That sounds absolutely crazy, but they can't afford another losing season. Bill Belichick can't afford another losing season. He's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat in that AFC East division. He's got to do it somehow. The other story we have is the Jordan Love story. So Jordan Love on Father's Day basically said Happy Father's Day to the Bears, which is kind of a continuation of Aaron Rodgers saying I own you to the Bears. But look at the difference between these two stories. Aaron Rodgers was, a Packer for like 18 years. I think in year 16, he says to the Bears crowd, I own you, to everybody. Well, Jordan Love hasn't even been a starter for a full year. He's already saying Happy Father's Day to the Bears. I think it's a little bit soon. I really do. I think it's a little bit soon from Jordan Love, which is a little frustrating for me because I just did a positive story on Jordan Love. I just did the story about how the guy looks like a strong dude, how he stands tall in the pocket, how he's got a big arm. I was happy with where we were at with Jordan Love. Then he comes out and says, basically, I'm your father to the Bears when he hasn't even been a starter for a full year yet. It makes you wonder, is it a red flag? Is it a sign of immaturity? I really hope that's not the case. I hope Jordan Love comes out there and backs it up. But, Aaron Rodgers waited until year 16 before he said, I own the Bears. He actually owned the Bears when he said it. Jordan Love does not own the Bears yet. And they have Justin Fields on that team who's been lighting it up at OTAs. Justin Fields isn't saying, hey, I own you from here on out to the Packers. The only thing we're hearing from Justin Fields is his teammates are saying he's tearing it up at OTAs. He's having one of the best OTAs they've ever seen. It's one of the best quarterbacks they've ever seen in practice. He could be in the MVP conversation. We're not hearing those things from Jordan Love. We're not. All we're hearing is Jordan Love saying to the Bears, Happy Father's Day. I'm going to own you just like Aaron Rodgers just owned you. Well, guess what? You can't take that success for granted. You can't. Just because Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears doesn't mean Jordan Love is going to own the Bears. You have to go out there and earn it for 16 years first, then you can say something like that. That's why it worked with Aaron Rodgers, because he was out there dicing teams up year in and year out, winning 4 MVPs along the way. So I don't like this from Jordan Love. I think it was a little bit immature. Maybe he's just having fun with it. Obviously he was. That's where he was going with it. It's just too soon. Football is just such a serious game, and you can't provoke your opponents in any way. You just want to go out there and do it with your pads. You want to let your pads do the talking. And if you're going to, poke at the other team, you have to be a savvy veteran that knows how to do it. You have to know to get in and get out of your spots. Example, Aaron Rodgers. He owns that division for 16 years, then says it to the Bears. He knew that he was already established. He knew that there was no way the Bears were going to come back and get him. He knew it was over. Everything was in Aaron Rodgers' favor before he said it to the Bears, because he's smart. He knows that he's not going to let that thing blow up in his face. Jordan Love, not as smart. Didn't even have a full season as a starter before he makes a statement like that. That's cocky. That's arrogant. Now he's got to go out there and back it up. He just put additional pressure on himself, because if Justin Fields comes into Lambeau and beats the Packers over the next 3 or 4 years, then what happens? Basically, the joke's going to be on Jordan Love. Happy Father's Day. Every Father's Day, they're going to say to Jordan Love, Happy Father's Day. If Justin Fields and the Bears go into Lambeau and beat the Packers the next 3 or 4 years. That's why you don't do something like that. Maybe I'm an old school guy that needs to have more fun. Maybe I need to lighten up. I don't know. I've coached a lot of football at the semi-pro level, at the varsity high school level. I've been a head coach at both levels. I've won a lot of football games. I prefer to run my team one way. Maybe it's a little bit traditional, but I think the Packers would feel the same way. I feel like me and the Packers probably share the same values when it comes to coaching, when it comes to running a football team. That's the way I feel on the Jordan Love situation. Pump the brakes, young gun. Win some games. Put together successful seasons before you start talking about being the father of the Bears. Because I promise you, Justin Fields and the Bears are coming. Don't end up eating those words. That's the last thing you want to do, Jordan Love. Just focus on football. I'm John Kuzma. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the Cross the Middle show.